Okay, that looks good.
I have Gen Z, so I don't actually have the phone a little bit.
Yeah. Sitting here. I'm just gonna go to Annapolis. I know where it is. On the street. I moved there for years. We'll solve that problem. It's pretty nice. Yeah, we actually did stand up with random spot. They all have podcasts on all the leaders have like their own. It's not really jokes, but they are funny guys, so to speak, like naturally. We're gonna move up. Yeah.
I'm gonna stay back. I want the long distance cruise. That'll be all.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. On behalf of Busboys and Poets, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. I know it's been a hot couple of weeks in DC, so we really appreciate you coming out and joining us. And we're just so happy to be here with author Marjorie to discuss her book, Connect Diplomacy. Busboys and Poets is a community where racial and cultural connections are consciously uplifted and a place for art, culture, and politics to intentionally collide. Our Busboys and Poets servers will be putting in orders throughout the program. I also want to remind you that there will be a book signing after this discussion, and Connect Diplomacy is here available for purchase. Now, a little bit about the book we'll be discussing here tonight. In today's dynamic and competitive world, where overwhelming complexities and rapid changes are constant, nurturing human connections and forging strong relationships emerge as pivotal strategies. These relationships enable us to channel our collective focus towards crucial global solutions, from world economic growth to pressing health challenges, all the while advocating for peaceful societies. Aziza Idris Ahmed's poignant question, tell me, what does a person want? Peace and safety, the rest comes after, resonates deeply with our universal longing for peace and security. Cultural diplomacy stands as a potent tool for building relationships and promoting understanding among nations. Through the exchange of ideas, traditions, and practices, we can construct a cohesive global community founded on mutual respect and cooperation. Connecting with others presents us with an invaluable opportunity to learn, respect, and embrace diversity. A smile on our faces and an open heart can dismantle barriers. Each person's unique story and perspective enriches the world, and by listening and learning from one another, we can develop a deeper appreciation for the complexity of human experience. Cultivating humility and remaining open to growth and change are essential as we seek common ground amidst our differences. This book extends an invitation to explore the beauty of embracing diversity. By celebrating and honoring the uniqueness in everyone, we cultivate enduring bonds that shape a more interconnected and united world. Now, about our speaker here tonight. Marjorie Hope is an accomplished author, entrepreneur, and advocate for global connection, and the author of 2 books, Kari's Old, published in 2024, and Connect Diplomacy, Using Our Differences to Connect, published in 2023. Graduating from Salisbury University with postgraduate certifications from the London School of Economics and Harvard University, Marjorie's diverse background includes owning and operating a successful gymnastics school where she championed the integration of mind, body, and spirit in fitness education. In 2016, she founded America Connected, a renowned international nonprofit dedicated to teaching cultural diplomacy worldwide. In her latest book, Connect Diplomacy, Using Our Differences to Connect, published in 2023, exemplifies her commitment to promoting understanding and unity across borders. Now I'll pass it off to our speaker here tonight. Thank you.
Hola, ¿cómo está usted? Bonjour, ¿cómo allez-vous? Ciao, ¿cómo estás? Shalom, makabankali faluka. Konnichiwa, ogunchitusuka. Ni hao. Привет, и как дела? Unwilling. Unvikeo, Jeneho. Hello, how are you? I've just greeted you in 11 different languages. I hope that you found one of them heartwarming and familiar. But what if I told you that you might have felt a little bit of anxiety on one of the languages, perhaps that you didn't know or know what I was saying? Anxiety is very common, and this is the start of what happens in our world when something doesn't make sense. The next step is fear. Fear is false evidence appearing real. The next step after that is escalation, which we don't want. So there's a lot of changes in our world right now, and change can be scary. But I know it'll be okay, because we just have to do it anyway. I'm Marjorie Hope, the author of Connect Diplomacy, Using Our Differences to Connect. And again, I say our differences. We don't have to like everyone. We don't even have to like the people in our family. But what we do have to do is respect each other. Now, we only have one Earth, one planet. This is where we all live. So we need to make sure that we take care of each other and our planet. So when I was writing Connect Diplomacy, which by the way is a word, I have trademarked it, and we need connecting and diplomacy, they have to go together. And what happened was, as I was traveling around and I noticed kind of a theory that I started to get. I tell people, when you go out into the world, and travel is the best thing you can do, and I don't mean like go on a 5-star trip and don't talk to people. You need to get out and talk to people. Not that there's anything wrong with the other, but what you're going to find, and this is kind of funny, is if you're like me and you enjoy what you're doing and you get lost everywhere you go. I get lost because I start enjoying, look at the people, look at this, look at that. Next thing I know, my group is gone. So now the first time I got lost, it was not my fault. I was in Israel, and we're supposed to have a buddy system. And if your buddy, like if you went to the bathroom, was supposed to tell, like let's say the group as they were leaving, my buddy's in the bathroom. Well, my buddy did not. So when I came out, there was nobody there. And it was a big, big old church, and there was, I noticed in the corner, a priest, but he did not speak English. But I have to tell you how amazing people are. Of course, I did the best I could explain in Spanish, and he was able to track down my group. They came and got me. But the entire time he stayed with me and kept saying, it's okay, it's okay. And I did feel good knowing that human contact, that, okay, I hope I am okay. So fast forward, I get lost again in Italy. This time I'm in Rome, and next thing I know, I'm walking, looking, and oh my gosh, my group is gone. So I call my mom. Mom, I'm lost. Well, Margie, she says, Margie's my nickname. Marjorie's actually my real name. And she said, you are in Italy. I'm in America. You need to figure it out. Okay, Mom. So I go and I try to figure it out as I'm walking, and I notice, as I'm thinking about this, a lady walking towards me, and she looks really important. So I'm thinking, why not, right? Hi, I'm Margie. I'm from America. She says, hi, I'm Maria Chiara. I am the Minister of Defense. Wow. So cool, right? I'm so happy I got lost. And we chatted for a few minutes. She was really, really nice. And I still contact her. Now, give you another example. I'll take the Japan story. So I'm in Japan, and we're touring the government center. And I know, like in America, if you get hungry, there's always like a cafeteria around. So I figure, okay, well, we'll find something, and we did. And I noticed on one side of the room, there was a whole group of people, really kind of important, very busy talking to each other, and the other side was empty. And there was like a maitre d', and I said, can we go in to eat? He said, yes, you have to go on this side, the empty side. Well, who's on the other side? Oh, that's the Prime Minister. He's having a meeting. Oh. Well, could you introduce me? Why not, right? He says, well, I can't do that. I mean, you could try. So my group pretends they don't know me at this point. I'm like, fine. They go off. We don't know you. I walk over. Hi, I'm Margie. I'm from America. Do you know what he did? He was so gracious. Konnichiwa, which means hello. Are you having a good time? Now, he must have obviously known I'm from America when I walked up. But he was so nice. I chatted with him. And I mean, this is like the cool stuff that you can't be afraid to talk to people. Communicating, connecting. And it doesn't always work. Give you an example. I was arranging a trip in India. And it was supposed to be a yoga trip. And this was going to be in the southern part of India, which is Kerala. And I don't think she was really that happy about it, but little spoiler alert, she's actually a really good friend now. She said, I guess we can do it, but no politics. And this was like on the last election, actually the one before it. And she'd been hearing all this negative stuff about Americans. So we get there, she's nice enough. After 1 hour, she came over to us and said, that's it, cancel everything you're doing. I'm showing you the real India. Wow, right? So we get on this hiking trail up a very long mountain. It's very hot. I don't know if it was a mountain, but it seemed that. And she says, don't worry, you're gonna like what I'm gonna show you. By the way, did you know that cows are sacred in India? So there's a reason I'm telling you this. As we're walking, again I get lost from my group. Now I'm not too scared, I know they're on the path, but they're way ahead. I'm busy looking at everything. And up walks a cow in front of me. So I tell you what, Mr. Cow, I will make you a deal. I'm gonna go around you, and you just go on your merry way and I'll go on mine. And he agreed. So we get to the spot finally that she's trying to show us. It's called Shabdanagalam, which is 4 corners with a church, a synagogue, a Hindu temple, and a mosque. And they're, all within walking distance. They have been there for over 1,000 years. They have never had a problem, and they're still there. Why? Because of respect. They respected each other's differences, because obviously they were differences. But that was okay. That, to me, started making me realize how special our world can be. When I was also in Rome, I noticed when I looked up at the balconies, all the Italian flags. Well, it's really cool. The government put up, flags on everybody. Wait, the government didn't do that. The people did that. Wait, they love their country as much as I love my country. So that's like, I know that sounds silly and funny, but it was an epiphany. How many people don't think that way, right? I was like, this is really cool. We are one big world with lots of people and lots of different views, but we need to respect each other. So when you are going to travel around this amazing world, I tell people you don't have to learn a language in every country, but you do need to know 3 words. Hello, goodbye, thank you. Also, you might want to know where's the bathroom. And that is showing respect to your host. Think of it this way, when you're visiting somebody in their house, you are a guest in their house. Well, the same thing when we go to another country. We're a guest in those people's house, that country. Now, one thing I started noticing as I was doing all this traveling is something I started saying to myself, seems to me people are people. Everybody has the same needs, wants, we all eat, we all sleep, we all go to the bathroom, right? So where does the disconnect come in? Now, part of that is social media. Social media started out as a great thing. It was, you look at the pictures of my family, look at my friends, look at where I went, all these kind of things, that's great. But then people started using it as a disconnect. Now, I'll tell you a study they just did. When people find a group that they like, wow, they're like me, they think like me, they have the same, belief, maybe it's political, maybe it's not, but I'm gonna join that group. And after a while, after maybe even visiting them in person, some of the people, something like a red flag stands up. Now you would think that they would say, well, I'm taking a step back, I'm not going to be in this group anymore. Studies show they do not do that. Because psychologically, you think, I joined that group, it must be me, not them. It must be something wrong with me, these are my friends, I went to lunch with them. Well, maybe what they're saying isn't as bad. So a lot of the disconnect we see is a taught, learned aspect of, unfortunately, disconnect. So, we all know what's right and wrong. We know the difference between being respectful and not, but we seem to be forgetting it. And that's a big problem. It's a huge problem. That's what leads to our escalation. I also had somebody tell me when I was talking to them about this, because they actually was an old political friend, and he said, I heard you wrote a book, and it's pretty cool, but, it's really naive of you to think that way. I said, you know what? You just gave me the best compliment you could have ever given me. Well, I really wasn't complimenting you, Margie. I said, I know that. I know what you meant, but I take it as a huge compliment. Because if you think I'm naive, then you think I'm thinking like a child. And guess what? They don't know about differences and disconnect. You might have seen this on social media a couple years ago. There were twins, 6 years old. And one had black skin, one had white skin. And they went around telling everybody they were twins. They really believed it. So finally somebody said, why do you think you're twins? And they said, because we have the same birthday. So you see, they connected with each other over the birthday. Nothing else mattered. So if I'm naive and thinking we can connect with each other, that's a good thing. And now I want to read to you a story about a frog, a very famous frog named Kermit. I've got a dream too. It's about singing and dancing and making people happy. The kind of dream that gets better the more people you share it with. And well, I found a whole bunch of friends who have the same dream, and that kind of makes us like a family. So the thing about our world too is we are not going backwards. Politicians, not all of them, but some of them will say there's an ocean between us. There is geographically an ocean between us, but that's it, we're all connected now. The clothes you're wearing today are all from different countries. The phones you have are from different countries. The chips in your phone are from different countries. And you know the old saying, the more the merrier, and it's true. I actually had this conversation the other day with someone. I said, they were saying some negative things about people in the world. I said, listen, do you like Albert Einstein? He said, I guess so. Do you think they contributed, Albert Einstein rather, to our world? Well, yeah, I guess so. So then what you're saying is that people, when they come from all over the world, can, I'm not saying always, contribute to our world. And that's what makes us so great and wonderful. Now, I was in Dubai, and I'm on a train, and I'm holding like the pole that you would hold on a train. And a young girl, maybe about 23, she walks in the train, very fast, and grabs the exact same pole I'm on. And I was like, kind of pleased that, wow, she wasn't afraid of me or anything. She just grabbed it. She's dressed head to toe in her culture. And so I said to her, do you mind if I ask you some very basic questions out of niceness just to learn about your culture? No, she said, go right ahead. And I did ask her basic questions, like, do you like wearing that? Because it looks really hot. I didn't know. I wanted to learn. And she answered everything. And then, she's a real sweet girl. Her stop came and she left. But out of the corner of my eye, I see a sheik staring at me. So I'm like, uh-oh. I hope I didn't offend you in any way. I was only trying to learn about your culture. And this is in my book. And he laughed. And he said, no, I just care about making money. It was so funny. We both started laughing. And I said, well, when I was in the town, I noticed not everybody seemed to like me. And he said, well, that's because some of the older people are not, and remember this is about 6 years ago, not used to the internet as much as you are, probably in your culture. And so they're not used to seeing, or dealing with this kind of thing with people like from America. And a lot of times too, people hear things, see things from the news, and think that's what we're about. So I said, well, can I get my picture with you? I kind of said it before I really thought about it. Everybody said yes. And now my theory started to be coming into fruition. When the picture came out, and it's in my book, he gave me a thumbs up. As different as we were night and day, different color skin, different ideologies, different religions, man, woman, but he recognized the fact that we had respect for each other. And I thanked him, and that was like the highlight of my trip. I was like, that proves my theory almost. I wanted to do one more thing. And I'm kind of speeding you through the countries right now, because I have so many more stories. But, okay, so I write this book, and I'm working on it. And then I decided, why not, because we have a lot of government agencies. We have United Nations, NATO, World Health Organization. I have all these in my book, and they're great, but they're all government-oriented. None of them are people-oriented. So I started asking friends of friends, friends I knew, friends of friends they knew, and I got a response from 100 countries, and they're in my book. And every single one said the same thing. I had asked them, why do we need to connect in our world, to have diplomacy? Why? And every single one, I did get one very interesting response. The person said to me in an email, I will answer your email if you answer mine first. I will never be allowed to have my name put in your book, or I will be killed. I'm from Iran. So I wrote the person back and said, name withheld per request, absolutely, and in the book it says name withheld per request. But even that person, everyone said, we need to connect with each other to have a world, to have peace, to have stability, to be able to connect. And that doesn't make it perfect. And that doesn't mean we have a perfect world, but we have a world to start with. So that's in my book, and you can read about all the different countries. Some was broken in English, so it wasn't always perfect, but it was genuine. It was from the heart. And I was so proud to put those countries in. The other thing I have in my book that's really cool is my 5 guys. And you probably have heard of them. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Winston Churchill, Mahatma Gandhi, and Nelson Mandela. And at the end of every chapter, they talk by the fire and they're eating dinner, and they always have bread that they're eating as part of the meal, because bread has been around for thousands of years. Bread can be called manna, can be called bread, many other things. But as they're discussing that chapter, and I'll give you an example, George Washington in one of the chapters says, well, I don't understand why we would need to be nice to the rest of the world. What does it matter? I left England so I could have freedom of speech and freedom of religion. And Winston Churchill starts saying to him, let me explain this to you, why we need, So they're talking from their view of their part of the world. Even Abraham Lincoln, he talks about, well, I don't really know about the rest of the world, but I know what it's like to try to connect two sides of your own country, meaning the North and the South. He said, just to get diplomacy with those two groups, is proving to be very difficult. So it's really an interesting book, and I really hope you like it. But the biggest thing, oh, and by the way, who can tell me the number one way of connecting with somebody? And this is for a prize. Anybody? It's in my book.
LinkedIn?
What's that?
LinkedIn?
That's a great answer. A smile. A smile is the number one communicator. If you go, and I'm telling you, I had this happen in a pizza place, actually in Rome. It was a small pizza place, and I asked for pizza, and they just ignored me continually. So finally I said, all right, I don't take it personally. I'm not going to think that they are bad. I think they probably had bad experience with Americans, maybe, right? So I say in Spanish, por favor. Guess what? All of a sudden, they start talking to me. I was like, un poco español, My Spanish isn't that good. But it opened up the conversation. We found something in common, and I really don't know what or why, but I could figure out that they just weren't happy with me originally from when I was talking English. But as soon as I switched, it was like, okay, well, we can deal with that. But I'm hoping, and I would hope, that they learned that it wasn't such a bad thing, that we do get, and that's what happened with my friend in India, by the way. So when you connect with people, even if they don't necessarily like you in the beginning, and I'll give you another example. I was in England, and I'll finish that statement in a minute, and I met some friends. I was actually in London, and we were sitting down to get something to eat because we had met up, and the one friend said, don't you find everybody so anti-Semitic here? I said, no, I've had a great experience. And then I realized he expected it to be that way. And he expected something that's just not there. Because people aren't always going to like you. And like I said in the beginning, you don't have to like everybody. I don't even like everybody in my family. But I have to respect them. And that's the difference. And that's what we all need to do. And I have people ask me this all the time, what was your favorite country? Which did like or didn't like? And my answer has always been, I like every single country I've been to, and I like each one I go to better than the next, and that's a true answer. When you get off the plane and it says welcome to Japan, or welcome to India, or whatever, welcome to Spain, it's like the most amazing feeling in the world to think that a little old airplane just took me over the sea, and I'm here in this other part of the world. So another example, I'm in Spain, by the way, and I was in a castle. And I came out of the castle with some friends, but they were going on one of those sky camps or whatever, and I wasn't. And I was supposed to meet them at the end, but this time we just couldn't figure out where everybody went. So I said, well, I'll just take a bus and meet them back somewhere at the hotel or whatever. But the bus, I got on the wrong bus, and then the bus driver really didn't want to deal with me because he was busy driving the bus. So finally, the bus stops, and he goes, this is the end. And I went, and then I asked him very politely, nicely, I didn't get upset, didn't get mad, how do I get back to here? And he did help me. He didn't take me there, but he did say, take this bus. I'm like, okay, well, it'd been nice if you told me this 20 minutes ago, but that's fine. And I did make it back. But you see, what I'm saying is there's always a way to find a way to connect with someone. And even if it's something they don't believe in and you don't believe in, we really can find that connection. And everybody has a way to do that. But I think what happens is fear. And that's where the anxiety comes in, because everybody has anxiety. Anxiety is that nervousness you feel when it's something you're not sure about, something you haven't done before, something that, what if? Those what ifs, if you don't solve it then, again, will lead to fear. But once you reach that stage of fear, and that's what happens to a lot of people in our world, that's when things can escalate. And that's why we have to stop the anxiety and take a deep breath and say, it's okay, we're gonna figure this out. So anyways, back to my question, can anybody tell me again, what's the best number one way to, and this is for a prize, to communicate with someone? And again, it's in my book. What's the number one way? Nothing.
Say hello.
Hello, a smile. Yeah, and so you win a prize. You can pick actually Madison will give you a prize over there. But yeah, so it's an exciting world. I mean, it really, really is. I think that the other thing I want to talk about is if you have great memories, let's say from high school, okay, and you have these wonderful memories of people in your high school, and then you actually get to have a high school friend, maybe two, come to a book signing. And then maybe one of them even wrote something in your book. So this is really, really cool. Because I cannot tell you how amazing this is. Now remember, this is 1980 when I read this to you. There were no other news stations around. There was not Fox News. Well, really all you had was your local news station, and you had a newspaper, local newspaper. That's about it. So on June 1st, 1980, Ted Turner, in announcing the launch of CNN, stated, "We hope that the cable news network, with its international coverage, will bring a better understanding of how people from different nations live and work together, so that we can perhaps, hopefully, bring together in peace and brotherhood and friendship the people of this nation and world." It was a mission statement that rang true during the 20 years I worked for CNN. Not me, but the person that wrote this. It was a privilege to witness and cover some of the great stories of the last quarter of the 20th century. The fall of the Berlin Wall, the birth of the new nation of Namibia, the election of the first black president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela. All of these were examples of bringing people together to strengthen democracy across the globe. It was an honor to be part of the global media company, and this is my best part that I love, that brought the world to America and America to the world. Please give it up for Chris Carino, former executive producer of CNN. Thank you, Chris. And honestly, it's in my book, and it's just the most amazing thing because it's what it's all about. Learning to connect with each other. And most of the time, when we're not sure about another group of people, it's because, again, of that anxiety. What if they're not nice to me? What if they're not? Well, what if they are? What if they are? What if we can make this work? What if we can have an amazing world with people working together? So, what do I want you to do? Well, I want you to go out in the world with hope, joy, happiness, peace, love, and respect. And I want you to buy my book. And if this amazing bookstore runs out of my book, you can always order it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. And you can always reach me, and I would love to hear from everybody. And my email is marjoriehope@itsmarjoriehope.com. And my website is itsmarjoriehope.com. Adios, au revoir, arrivederci, shalom, sayonara, Zajin, and forgive me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, but it's Anyinhe Gaseo. Goodbye for now. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. And please help yourself to one of the prizes up there.
I just want to remind you once again, Connect Diplomacy is here available for purchase. If you already have your own copy, you probably know someone who would really benefit from having this book. So we encourage you to purchase it here today, and Marjorie will be signing copies, so this is a really special opportunity. And thank you once again. Have a great rest of your night. Oh, no, we're
And
not.
I want to thank all the Florida people here and all the high school friends here today. Thank you so much.
You can speak to her one-on-one. There's just another event right after this one. I'm not sure if it's open or not. I have to make sure. I can double check. I know it's
Well, that's a good speed. Sorry. That was a good speed. So I have a question for you, actually. So the countries you mentioned, like India,